Welcome to EngloStories. Today, we bring you a fascinating tale from the famous collection Arabian Nights, written over 1,000 years ago. These stories were collected during the Islamic Golden Age and have been translated into many languages around the world. Our story today follows Sinbad the Sailor, one of the most beloved characters from these ancient tales. Sinbad was a merchant from Baghdad who went on 7 amazing voyages across dangerous seas. Each journey brought him face to face with strange creatures, magical islands, and terrible dangers. But through his cleverness and bravery, Sinbad always found his way home, returning with incredible treasures and stories. Join us as we follow Sinbad on his 3rd voyage, where he encounters a giant bird, precious diamonds, and deadly snakes. What adventures await our hero? Let's find out together. Now, let's begin the story. After 2 successful voyages that made him rich, Sinbad grew restless in Baghdad. He lived in a beautiful house with servants and enjoyed fine food and music every day. But the comfortable life soon became boring for him. Sinbad missed the excitement of the sea and the thrill of discovering new lands. One sunny morning, while walking through the busy marketplace, Sinbad heard sailors talking about distant shores where precious gems covered the ground like pebbles. His eyes lit up with excitement. Within days, he had spent his money on a new ship and gathered a crew of experienced sailors. "This voyage will bring us more wealth than we can imagine," Sinbad told his crew as they prepared to leave Baghdad's port. The ship sailed smoothly for many weeks. The blue waters sparkled under the hot sun, and gentle winds filled their sails. The crew sang songs and told stories as they worked. Sinbad stood at the front of the ship, breathing in the salty air and feeling truly happy again. But one afternoon, the clear sky suddenly turned dark. Heavy clouds gathered above them, and the wind began to howl like an angry beast. The peaceful sea transformed into towering waves that crashed against their ship. Sinbad and his crew faced their first challenge, a terrible storm that would push them far off course toward an unknown island. When the storm finally passed, Sinbad and his crew found themselves near a strange island with tall mountains and thick forests. Their ship was damaged, so they had no choice but to go ashore. "Be careful," Sinbad warned his men. "We know nothing about this place." The island seemed peaceful enough. Beautiful trees heavy with fruit grew everywhere, and clear streams of fresh water ran down from the mountains. The sailors quickly gathered food and began to relax. Some built a fire on the beach, while others explored nearby. Sinbad walked along the shore, studying the unusual black and white rocks that covered the beach. Something about them seemed odd, but he couldn't understand what. As he moved farther from his crew, he noticed a large white dome in the distance. "What strange building is this?" he wondered, approaching the smooth, round structure. It was bigger than his house in Baghdad, perfectly rounded and gleaming in the sunlight. Sinbad touched its surface. It felt smooth, but not like stone. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled. To his horror, the dome began to move. It wasn't a building at all. It was an egg, an enormous egg of the legendary bird called the roc. As the massive creature hatched, its wings spread wider than 10 ships. Sinbad ran back toward his crew, shouting warnings. But when he reached the beach, a terrible sight awaited him. The black rocks he had seen earlier were moving. They were giant snakes, bigger than palm trees. 2 of his men had already been caught and swallowed whole by the monsters. "Get back to the ship," Sinbad shouted. The sailors ran in panic, but many were caught by the enormous snakes. Meanwhile, the giant rock bird circled overhead, its shadow darkening the entire beach. In the chaos, Sinbad became separated from the remaining crew. As night approached, he heard their distant screams. By morning, he realized he was alone. The ship had sailed away without him, either by a choice or forced by the rock. Sinbad climbed to the highest point of the island to see if he could spot his ship, but it was nowhere in sight. Instead, he noticed something sparkling in a deep valley on the other side of the island. The valley floor glittered with thousands of diamonds, more wealth than 100 kings could possess. But the valley sides were steep and smooth as glass. How could he reach this treasure? And even if he did, how would he ever escape this dangerous island alive? Sinbad spent the night hidden in a small cave, safe from the giant snakes that hunted after dark. When morning came, he watched as enormous eagles flew down into the Diamond Valley, hunting for food. This gave him an idea, a dangerous one, but perhaps his only chance to survive. From his previous adventures, Sinbad remembered stories told by diamond merchants. They would throw pieces of meat into similar valleys, and diamonds would stick to the meat. Then eagles would carry the meat with the attached diamonds to their nests, where hunters could collect both. If eagles can carry meat out of the valley, Sinbad thought, perhaps they can carry me too. He found a large piece of wood and tied himself securely to it using vines from the forest. Then, gathering all his courage, he slid down into the Diamond Valley. The ground was indeed covered with precious stones of all sizes. Quickly, Sinbad filled his pockets and the small bag he carried. But now came the truly dangerous part. He lay flat on the wooden board, pulled his robe over himself, and waited, motionless. Soon, a massive shadow passed overhead. An eagle, bigger than any bird Sinbad had ever seen in Baghdad, swooped down. Its sharp claws grabbed the wood with Sinbad attached, thinking it had found food. The eagle's powerful wings beat the air as it lifted Sinbad high above the island. His heart pounded with terror as the ground fell away beneath him. The eagle flew higher and higher, over mountains and finally across the sea. "Please, take me somewhere with people," Sinbad prayed silently as the wind rushed past him. After what seemed like hours, the eagle descended toward a mountain nest. Just before reaching it, Sinbad heard human voices. The eagle dropped him on a narrow ledge and flew away, startled by the unexpected noise. Sinbad quickly untied himself and stood face to face with a group of astonished men. Diamond collectors. The diamond collectors couldn't believe their eyes. They had seen eagles bring up meat with diamonds, but never a living man. When Sinbad showed them the diamonds he had collected, they were even more amazed. "You are either the bravest or the most foolish man alive," said their leader, a merchant named Hassan. "But your courage has brought you great fortune." Hassan explained that they were diamond merchants from a nearby kingdom who came to this remote place every year. They agreed to take Sinbad with them when they returned home. The journey to their city took several days. Along the way, Sinbad told them about his adventures and the terrible island with the rock bird and giant snakes. The merchants listened with wide eyes, hardly believing such creatures could exist. "Your previous crew must think you are dead," Hassan said. "What will you do now?" Sinbad looked at the bag of diamonds he carried. Even sharing some with these helpful merchants, he had enough wealth to live comfortably for the rest of his life. "I will find a way back to Baghdad," he said. "My home is calling me." In the merchant city, Sinbad sold some of his diamonds for gold. With this money, he was able to join a trading ship heading toward Baghdad. After many weeks at sea, he finally saw the familiar shoreline of his homeland appearing on the horizon. When Sinbad returned to Baghdad, no one recognized him at first. His clothes were ragged, his skin darkened by the sun, and his beard had grown long. But he went straight to the marketplace and bought a fine new house, even larger than his previous one. Once settled, he invited merchants and sailors to a grand feast. There, he revealed his identity and told the amazing story of his third voyage: the island of snakes, the giant rock bird, the valley of diamonds, and his eagle flight to safety. News of his return spread quickly through Baghdad. People came from all parts of the city to hear his tales. Sinbad was happy to be home, but as he looked out his window toward the distant harbor, he wondered what other adventures might be waiting for him beyond the horizon. Perhaps someday he would sail again. Sinbad's story teaches us many important lessons. First, we learn that courage and quick thinking can help us overcome even the most dangerous situations. When Sinbad was trapped on the island, he didn't give up. He found a creative solution to his problem. The story also shows us that taking risks can sometimes lead to great rewards, but we must be prepared for challenges along the way. Finally, Sinbad reminds us that while home provides comfort and safety, exploring the world brings knowledge and experience that makes our lives richer. Sometimes, we need to leave our comfort zone to discover new possibilities and to appreciate what we already have. If you enjoyed Sinbad's amazing adventure, please like this video and share it with friends who are also learning English. What would you do if you were stranded on an island like Sinbad? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to EngloStories as we upload a new story daily. Tomorrow, we'll share another exciting tale from around the world. Until then, keep practicing your English and dreaming of adventures.